Hey athletes, time for step-ups. Step-ups are probably the easiest way to teach your athletes how to use their lower body. So, rather than trying to teach them how to squat or lunge or deadlift or swing or anything, the first thing you need to make sure your athletes and you as an athlete understand is how to frickin' use your legs, okay? The easiest way for me to describe it to my athletes is with this move, the step up. So let's just see what the step up is. Pretty simple, right? You're stepping up, okay? What's really nice with this exercise, you get to really focus on one leg. It's slow and controlled. You only have to step up on a 2-inch step or a 5-inch. I believe I'm using a 20-inch maybe. Again, it doesn't have to be very high. What are we looking for here? So let's back this up a little bit. Now, prime mover, right? Let's talk step-ups, right? Prime mover, this hunk of meat right here. Your quadricep, okay? Your quadricep, and certainly your butt does fire a little bit, especially if this knee gets above your hip here. If your knee is above it, yeah, your butt's going to have to fire first in order to get your hip above the knee so that your quadricep can take over. That's a squatting thing, which we'll talk about in the future. And again, make sure you understand how to do this before you squat, before you jump, before you anything, okay? So, let's talk angles, let's talk feet, let's talk hips. So, right here, my ankle is bent. Now, I was absolutely cold when I was doing this, so please don't mind the fact that my heel is up a little bit on a couple of these, okay? You'll see me adjust, and I'll explain, how I adjust and how I'm still being safe when I'm doing this and still activating the right muscles. But again, ice cold, it happens. All right, put my foot on. What I need to make sure happens is everything is in a nice line before I go. So here's me moments before I go. My torso's, oops, my bad. My torso is pretty vertical, right? It's a little bit leant forward. Why? Because I'm trying to get this hip here to work, right here. All right, playing a little asteroids real quick. Also, the angle of my knee, I'm not so concerned with this, okay? A little bit, because my heel's up, but most of the time I'm not too concerned if my knee goes in front of my toe, and here's why. The cue of you gotta sit back on your heels, you gotta do all that garbage, it's not really that important, and here's why. That cue was meant to be for specific athletes. Specific athletes doing squats, they would go down on their toes here, and their heels would be a few inches off of the ground. Their coach, even though it was during a scientific study, said you need to get your heels down. You need to push your heels into the ground. Why? Because their heels were way off the ground. We'll talk about in our faults later why I don't want you to be pushing through your heels when you're doing this exercise. Do your heels need to be down? Absolutely. Now, when I'm about to come up, you can see, boom, right there, my heel's back down on the box, okay? My heel's back down on the box. Everything, my whole foot is as flat as it can be. My knee is still, though, in front of my toe. And that's fine. Why? Because I'm doing the bending here in my knee. In my ankle. I'm not requiring my knee. I'm not requiring my knee to do all of this work, right? Because my ankle is bent, my Achilles tendon here, which is very cold in this situation, so it's not doing its normal job. Right here, my Achilles tendon, it's doing a stretch, okay? So, when I am coming up, it's all good, all right? It's all good. Now, what am I doing? A lot of you are probably screaming at the computer screen, Josh, we already get it. We totally understand. We've seen your videos. You're pushing down, okay? But what the heck does that mean? So, imagine, even though this box is off camera, let's see if this box, all right, this box, my foot, okay? Now, the floor is way down here under the box, okay? My foot is way up here. What I want you, and a great cue to your athletes, is try to take your foot, right, which is on top of the box here, and try to crush the box and get your foot all the way to the floor, okay? By driving your foot through the box as if you could crush it or smash it, what that's going to do is it's going to cause your body to come up, okay? And a beautiful thing, it turns on the proper muscle, your quadricep, okay? So again, we want you to drive your foot through the box. That will have you come up. And once you understand this, all of your exercises using your lower body are going to make absolute sense, and you're going to progress so quickly. So don't disregard this cue. Make sure you understand it, because this is your first step. Step up. All right. So I drive straight down. Boom. I'm up. I come back down. I do it again. Always resetting. Yeah, my heel is off a little bit. I make sure it comes back down. Why? Because I am so concerned with putting all of my pressure right here in my foot, okay? Right in the center of my foot, just in front of my ankle here. I do not want to put any extra pressure. I do not want to put any extra pressure here in my heel or in my toes than I have to. Again, I want perfectly straight because my center of mass is right here. Right? My hips are a little bit behind this line. My legs are a little bit behind. If you could see my torso and we could cut me in half, I'm perfectly balanced right here. Why? Because I am driving through the center of my foot. Ask a ninja, right? Balancing on the center of your foot, that's what ninjas do. Because you're an athlete, you're a ninja, we need to make sure that you're pushing right here. The center of your foot, the center of your mass, the center of your gravity. All right. Let's continue on. So I'm up, I'm down, I reset over the center of my foot, and then I would go again. Now, let's talk faults. Right there. Okay, so I start to extend, and most people, especially when they're first learning, let me get my foot on there so that I can use both of my legs to help me stand up. That's not what we're trying to do here. That's not teaching your body how to use your legs to do any work. That's I'm tired and weak. Get my foot up there and now I can stand up. Again, we want it to be me using just this one leg, and at the last moment, my foot would come on if it needs to. Now I've got good balance. I don't have to set that foot on at all, and I can rep out a bunch of repetitions without putting my foot on. But for people who are just learning, they're going to do this right away. This doesn't count. This isn't teaching you how to use your legs appropriately. So we want to make sure, again, you're driving your foot through that box, only putting that foot on at the end once your one leg has done all of the work, right? No good. And another fault is putting too much damn pressure, and this happens all the time because of the stupid cue of push through your heels. We never, ever, ever want to put all of our effort through our heel. Remember, we want to put it through the center of our foot. What happened here? My ass shot way back. I tipped way over, right? I tipped so far over, you can see my chin now. Before, you couldn't even see my lovely beard. What this is doing is instead of me using my quadricep, right, my leg here, I'm using my butt and my hamstrings and my lower back. This is not a posterior chain exercise. If you want to work those three muscles, your lower back, your butt, and your hamstring, go check out the video on RDLs because that's when we do it, when we're hinging. We're trying to teach our body how to use our legs, right? Our quads. And by pushing through your heel, that's not how we're going to get there, okay? So, if you ever hear a coach say push through your heel, take it into consideration that what they're getting at is keep your heel down when you're driving up. And again, driving up through the center of your foot. So if you're a coach and you tell athletes push through your heel, let's think about that for a second and figure out what we are trying to do when we're doing these exercises. And again, in this case, we want to use our quad when we're doing our step up by pushing through the center of our foot so that we can rise all the way up, not by pushing through our heel. Because look at this. I'm tipping way over. Okay? No good. Not working our quadriceps very well. If you want to advance this, you can lunge, you can squat, check out our other videos.